Hey everybody, it is the Angry Honey Badger here, and joining me today is nobody. It's random Ezreal footage down in the bot. I'll even watch it with you. Oh, landed that Q. I'm good. Nobody's with me today because Kyle's finding himself and Ranger's driving to a new location. That's the best description I can give you for what those guys are up to, but they are both busy. So I will tackle patch notes by myself, which is something I used to do so long ago. Anyways, I'm sorry. This will probably be faster because there won't be as much conversation, which is sad. I apologize. Like I said, hopefully this only happens for this week. It'll probably be quicker because there will be less conversation. Yeah. So, patch 5.8 is here, so that's really good. We like that. 5.8 is going to have a bunch of stuff in it. We're going to talk about that, obviously. We're going to let you know what's cool, what's important, what are good changing. There are some excellent casting changes, first up, off the bat. I'm not going to read through all this. A lot of new key binding options for quick cast and range indicators, being able to toggle them to individual skills for yourself. Very cool. Other new HUD options, disable spell check, clicks, yada yada. Go check that out, read that into it if you're really into all that stuff. Mine's already set up, and I like the way it is, so I don't touch it. So that's the first part. So let's move on to the champions. First off, Ryze. Ryze has been updated this patch. So what that means is new ability, visual effects, audio, icons, and all that is being upgraded. His base mana regen is being taken down by 1, going to 5. His mana regen growth stat, though, instead of it being 0.8, will now be 1. And the armor growth stat is now actually only 3 instead of 3.9. Now, passively, here's his new passive. Arcane Mastery. Casting spell grants a stack of Arcane Mastery for 12 seconds. At 5 stacks, Ryze becomes supercharged for an increasing amount of time, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds, increasing with his ranks of Desperate Power. Gaining a shield that blocks 20 plus 5 per level, 8% of maximum mana damage, and causing his spell cast to reduce the cooldown of his other spells by overloads cooldown to a minimum of 0.25. So, what do we take away from this? His passive now gets him supercharged, which is kind of cool. I do like the new stacking ability. I've watched it a little bit. It seems nifty. I like how Ryze is finally getting an update. He's a very old champion with a very old kit that only saw a lot of nerfs and buffs to his Q over time. Not a lot of interesting stuff happening. So next we have his Q, which is his Overload. Now, Overload no longer passively grants cooldown reduction, so that's not there anymore. Now, it is also, big one to remember, is a skill shot now. So, line skill shot, once it hits the first enemy it hits, including minions, it stops. So you gotta be careful with that. Width of it is 50. The range on it is a lot longer, though, at 900 instead of 625. Mana costs are cheaper at all ranks, considerably cheaper. Early, you will be spamming this quite a bit in lane, also stacking your tier up with it. Damage on it going to actually be more. It's a skill shot. It's going to be harder to land. You're not just going to poke nonsense with it over and over. The mana ratio on it is going to be decreased from 6.5. It's going to scale up to 4 as you put points into it. Ability power ratio being increased, though, focusing on ability power with him. And the cooldown on it is 4 seconds instead of 3.5, but it can be reduced, as we know, with passive. So, Rune Prison. Still pretty similar, just less damage at later ranks. Mana ratio on it being decreased and ability power ratio being decreased. They're just moving power out of Rune Prison mostly. I'm interested to see how this actually affects things overall, but he's going to be getting some of it back on Spell Flux, which is next. That's Z. Unleash an orb that deals damage and reduces the magic resist of targets hit by a percentage, stacking up to 3 times. After hitting, Spell Flux bounces the nearby enemies and Ryze up to a total of 6 secondary targets before returning to the original target. So, damage on this, 50 up to 114 plus 2% of the maximum mana and 0.3 ability power. Return damage on that, as you can see, 25 to 57, 1% maximum mana, 0.15. It's cut in half, if you haven't noticed. The magic resistance reduction is now going to be 8 up to 12% magic resistance. So, not just a number, but a percentage, which is going to be good when people are building lots of magic resist. Percentage is always fun. We like percentages when people are building lots of it. That's why Blade of the Ruined King does percentage hit damage on tanky people. That's great. So also on Ryze, on his Desperate Powers ultimate, cooldown on this is actually cheaper or lower at late rank 3, but a little bit longer early on. Duration of it over time is 4 to 6 seconds instead of 5 to 7 seconds. And new on this is increases Arcane Mastery duration to 4, 5, 6 with rank. Desperate, excuse me. Passively grants 10, 20, and 30% cooldown reduction. Passively. So as we put points in this, this is where it makes up for some cooldown reduction. Very cool. Very fun. Ryze, I'm really interested to see how he is played at this point, or after this, and I'm interested to see how powerful or weak he is. I think he's going to be okay, though, from what I've watched. I haven't played him. I'm in the PvE, but I just didn't play him. But I'll be playing him a little bit more, see what happens. Let's move on, though, from Ryze. Much Ryze. Ahri, her charm no longer interrupts unstoppable effects. This is Unstoppable Force from Malphite, Hecarim's Onslaught, and Vi's Assault and Battery. So you can no longer tag people while they're in motion with those, because they should be unstoppable. Makes sense. Just kind of a tweak, so careful with that. Bard is seeing one last change, or a couple little changes. He is finally more up to power. We said he was weak previously. He is better now. Still very tough to play correctly, and still just feels like he does a certain lacking amount of things in team fights. So be careful with that. But mostly, big changes. Early chimes will avoid spawning in the enemy jungle pre-5 minutes. Very good, especially if you're invading and then all your chimes would spawn in the enemy jungle, and you're like, wait, I want to go get them now. So you'd leave them there. So that was a problem. And then experience per chime. Instead of 20 flat XP, it's 20 plus 1 XP per minute. So it'll go up after 5 minutes. So they'll start to give you a little bit more for that moving around and roaming. Very fun. Next, we do have Blitzcrank, more changes to his overdrive. The movement speed bonus decays more slowly over 5 seconds. So slowly. And then overdrive's movement speed bonus cannot decay below 10%. I haven't actually seen Blitzcrank too much since they added the overdrive stuff, but he's still fine. So he's still fine. He's still good playing. Grab some people. Caitlyn, snap traps. They're going to be easier to see in bushes. Enough said. It's good. Some changes on Mundo. Passively, they're going to give you the tooltip, but no value changes have occurred, so don't worry about that. The Infected Cleaver now refunds 100% of health cost on killing blows. This is good for farming. You can farm with it, and it's not going to cost you anything as long as it kills them, which is great. And then on his ultimate, same thing. No numbers have changed, but tooltip recovery added. Dynamic recovery numbers in the tooltip. So, nice little changes. Now the next one is on Graves. And so what they're doing with his buckshot, so Graves is strong. We know that Graves is strong. That's completely fine. He's close range. He has to utilize being close range to deal lots of damage. And that's what they're doing with his buckshot. They've messed with this on and off over time. The base damage on it is the same early, but it's a little less late game. Or not late game as much as at rank 5 when you max it up. Now, the ratio on it being tweaked back just a little bit by 0.05, and then the bonus of damage per bullet is actually being increased. So the way you get, obviously, multiple damage per bullet is when you're closer, and they're taking multiple bullets when they're closer together. So you get a little bit more damage, so you're actually being rewarded for being closer still. Maximum damage to 3 hits. Also, once again, we can see that the damage is now higher. So what this means is you're rewarded more for being up close and personal, which is Graves is like, it's what he's all about. But they don't want him just poking and getting one of those bullets to deal quite as much damage as it currently is in lane. So that's the main focus here. I don't think it really should affect him too much. Just know if you want to trade with buckshot, maybe get a little closer, you'll actually deal a little more damage than you're used to. Next, we do have Jinx on her Super Mega Death Rocket. I actually recently did look up some information on Jinx about, like, what was it? It was who she teams up with as supports and who she's been doing bad and good with overall. And she's positive win rate percentage with every single support. I think she's the only ADC to do so. She's in a very strong place, to say the least. So Super Mega Death Rocket, instead of it having 125, 175, 225, and 0.5 bonus attack damage on its minimum damage, it's 25, 35, 45, and 0.1. Now what this means, because as much as that seems like an absolutely enormous nerf, it is, but it's just so people don't ult people with full health and deal like 400 damage to them. What it means now is when you go to ult someone, you need to utilize the other part of her ultimate where the percentage of health they're missing will deal more damage. You want to actually ult people now when they're at like 30% health left, and they'll still be annihilated by the other side of her ultimate. This is just preventing her from being just ulting people point blank at full health. Like, okay, so basically what this is doing, it's going to show who's a really bad Jinx and who's not, is what it's going to do. Don't ult people point blank at full health with her ultimate. I know it used to trade you a little bit of damage, but that's not what it's for, and that's not what they want it to do for, and it was too much power at the start of a fight. So they're getting rid of it. I agree with this change. It's so annoying to watch somebody use her ult wrong anyways. So ult them when they're low. It will still kill them. Don't worry about it. Kha'Zix is next. Void Spike. The heal amount on that is being increased at earlier levels. This will help him out in the jungle. Just a heads up. Just a heads up. I like this change because I'm a Mordekaiser fan. Big time. Creeping Death. If you cast it on yourself and there is a minion or allies around you, it will automatically target one of them and give them it as well. So, very, very cool. I do like this. They're going to do the same thing down below here too with Nunu with Blood Boil. Like if you forget or you don't realize they're in your range and you go to do this to yourself, you're going to hit up the closest ally, which is just a good trade to help everyone else. Although his growth stat has changed a little bit. Instead of 96, it's going to be 90. He's already beefy, so don't worry too much about that. He builds health, so you're not going to notice too much. Next, we have Pantheon. Pantheon's Grand Skyfall now issues an on my way ping after fully committing to casting it. So it gives your team kind of a heads up. I'm on my way. The same thing is happening too with, no, not with Shen actually, but a very similar thing is happening with Shen though when it comes to global ultimates is now he places himself between his target and the closest visible enemy. This is really helpful too if you're actually jumping into a fight to save someone, because instead of it putting you behind your ally who's trying to run away or in front of or however, you won't be in the way and you'll be able to easily then taunt the person perhaps chasing them. So just kind of a nice quality of life thing for Shen. He's been played a little bit more now and I've seen people doing quite well with him. So I don't want to say Shen's back, but I hope Shen's back. Really cool champion. Underutilized. Big game changer when it comes to ulting into team fights as well. Next, we do have, in fact, Sion. And his Soul Furnace is seeing some changes. We've seen changes to his Q actually getting more damage and E getting nerfed with mana cost and reduction and cooldown or whatever. A lot of changes to Sion. Still pretty good. W's health ratio is lower at early ranks and takes longer to reactivate. So, shield duration instead of 2 seconds is now 3 seconds, but the ratio instead of a 10% maximum health, you're going to have to scale it up to that. And since people typically will max this out last, they're not going to be getting the 10% max health on this early on, which is probably a good thing. It makes him a little too beefy early on. So, this is to take down the tank ability of Sion in the early game. Once again, he still gets to the late game and translates as a huge tank anyways, and by the time this is maxed out, he's fine. I don't think this is going to ruin him by any means, but he's just too safe of a pick early on with that and so many other things. So, Sion players, unfortunate, but good quality of life change for the top lane. Really, really is. There's been a few tweaks in the patch so far. Couple health things, small things, Sion, getting rid of tanks, taking tanks down a little bit. I'm expecting we'll see something about their Cinderhulk maybe in the next patch or in the future. I'm expecting it to go down percentage-wise, but that's not in this patch. But there are some great item changes, which you will like when we get to them. Next, we do have Twitch. Rat-a-tat-tat now hits inhibitors and the Nexus. Cool. Warwick. Blood Scent fixed a bug where it could take Warwick up to 2 seconds to detect low health enemies with Blood Scent. That's unfortunate. And I think I noticed this bug the other day because somebody on my team was blood-scented and had way more health than me, and I was standing next to them. And I wasn't blood-scented, and then all of a sudden, like a few seconds later, I was blood-scented. I was like, I better run, because he's close. So, good bug fix. The other good bug fix, which I actually had happen to me multiple times, and people made fun of me because they thought I was bad. Not the case. Xerath, his ultimate, when you go to fire it fairly quick, it would accidentally fire his first shot on top of himself. It was such a sucky thing to happen to because that's a waste of a lot of damage, especially if you want to kill them with that first shot. That is surprising. So they fixed it, supposedly. I'll have to see if they did because it was a big issue. How am I doing? I'm 2-0-1 with 92 CS. Not doing great. I think I died twice this game. Can we get to the dying only twice? It's a 55-minute game. Okay. That's going to be up there for a long time. Which we won't need it for that long because this is going way faster by myself. Not surprised. There's no one to talk to about things. No one can get me distracted. I miss that. Where are you guys? Come back. Next, we have Yasuo. Passive. Way of the Wanderer. Shield strength, 60 to 470. Is now being changed to 100 to 510. And you're probably thinking, nice, we're getting a shield buff on a Yasuo. Only late game. And here's why. The flow rate, instead of it being 100% at all levels, it's now 78, 89, and 100% effectiveness for getting the flow up to charge it at levels 1, 7, and 13. So, yes, the shield will be bigger, but it will take longer to fill up. And personally, as much as this is a buff and nerf in some back and forth ways, I really like the change because I think it's way too easy to block spells with flow early game, which making it at 78 instead of 100 now will make it you can actually trade in between it. Because once he would take that poke and it'd get knocked down, he'd finish farming the wave, maybe only take a couple autos or something, and he'd run away and he'd just start running in circles. He'd get back up for the next wave. He'd have it up every single wave. And that's boring counterplay. So this will make it a little harder. Let alone, he doesn't have any trouble in lane, or he shouldn't. He can dash and do whatever the hell he wants, and he doesn't have any mana costs. So, I don't hate Yasuo or anything. I think he's fun to play, but this makes sense. And you get a bigger shield for it, too. You get 40 extra on it. So, that helps him in a different way. I mean, it makes up for it, but the shield will come on a lot, not a lot slower, but definitely slower. I mean, 22% slower. So, be aware of that if you are a Yasuo player. You're going to need to make sure you have it back up if you're going back in for a trade. Mass texture rebalance. Lots of texture rebalances. Lux, Knock, Pop, Shock, Shiv, Team. Oh. Cool. Okay, so the items. I'm excited about some of these. I'm really interested to see what happens with the new Black Cleaver. So, the new Black Cleaver will now consist of a Phage and a Kindle gem, plus 825 gold. It still costs us 3,000. That is not touched. The armor penetration has been removed, but that's because there's no armor pen item technically on it anymore. But it now has 200 extra more health, now at 400. Attack damage taken down by 10. It's only 40, but that's because it builds from a Phage. Cooldown reduction. 20%, that's an increase, and I do like that. I do like cooldown reduction increases on some items. It definitely makes build paths really nice to getting to 40%. The armor shred duration is 6 seconds instead of 4. It's longer now. And the armor shred maximum stacks is up 1 to 6. Now, the cool thing about the item is since it does have a phage in it, they can put rage passive on it, which is dealing damage or physical damage grants 20 movement speed for 2 seconds, an additional 20. Killing an enemy or receiving an assist on the champion will then give you has any amount of Black Cleaver armor shred. Oh yeah, so if the stack's on or you touched them, you get 60% movement speed for 2 seconds. So I'm really interested to see how this works on champions that typically could get kited, but they didn't technically want to build a Trinity Force. Like, for instance, I just redid my Darius build. And Trinity Force Darius, a lot of people like it because it gives you the speed up. And it's not a bad item by any means, but I feel like there's a few wasted stats on it. It's just a little expensive for what I get for it. But this could make some legit sense because he wouldn't get kited as much. He'd get even more armor shred. He gets it already from his pole. And this could just be a good combination. So I'm really interested to see how this would work. Also getting a kill and assist and getting 60 bonus movement speed. That's kind of big for somebody who wants to continue running around and dunking people. And if he just needs that little bit of movement speed, there it is. So I'm interested to see how this works on a few champions. I do really like the changes. So look forward to trying it out on a few of your favorite champions for sure. How we doing? Still 2-0-1. What are we doing? We're farming. What do we have? Manamune? Oh, it's blue build. That's why this is a long game. Blue build just doesn't finish games out. I'm thirsty. Okay? I'm doing this by myself. Anyways, next. Recurve Bow. Has a new build path. Makes total sense too. Dagger, 200 gold. Cost 1100. Deals 10 physical damage on hit. So now it has an on hit effect, which will change other items. For instance, the Blade of the Ruined King used to build from Dagger, Bilgewater. Now it builds from Bilgewater, Recurve Bow. 700 gold. Cost is unchanged. On hit passive now benefits from Lifesteal. And it has minimum damage. Instead of 3, it's now 10. So, Blade of the Ruined King. Small buff. Actually, medium-sized buff. I will call this a medium-sized buff for 2 reasons. Less item slots are being taken up by daggers once you get Recurve Bow and you haven't finished the items. I like that because item slots are hard to come by. And then the other thing I like is more on hit benefits you greatly and will help shred tanks even more. So, Blade of the Ruin King, very nice. Also technically going on to the Hurricane 2 will be its change. Combined cost actually is only 500. The total cost is going to be 2,500. Some odd math here, but the bow goes up by 200, so Hurricane's slightly more expensive because of reasons. Nailed it. Deals 10 physical damage on hit. This really helps out Callista, who currently sucks. And I'll tell you why she sucks. So the issue with Callista right now in a very tanky meta is Callista builds don't build a lot of crit chance, or really any crit chance if you're doing Bloodthirster, Hurricane, Last Whisper. Sure, you have some armor pen, and that's a decent core, but your problem is tanks with so much health, even if they have armor, the problem is you're hitting them for like 60 a hit, and I know she can rend, but you'd have to hit a Scion like 70 times to kill him. Granted, you could probably rend, but you could rend halfway through it. So you'd still have to hit Scion 35 times in a row. Like, you need crit to actually destroy tanks. So this does help her a little bit with some physical damage on hit. Very helpful. But tank meta, I would stay away from Callista unless they don't have a tanky team. It's very tough. Like, she just seriously can't kill super tanks. It's very slow. She can kite, which should help her stay alive, but if you can't kite super well, then she just doesn't kill them. Same thing happening to Wit's End build path. Betterment, 550 gold, 2600 unchanged. Hooray, Wit's End. Don't see that enough. And then on the enchantment for Devourer, instead of Dagger, it's Recurve Bow, plus 300 gold instead of plus 500. And the cost is unchanged, but slightly different build path, but that also makes sense. Recurve Bow is just not on a lot of items. It makes sense that they build it into items where you have multiple daggers. Like, if you have an item in the game, you want to use it in builds. Like, just tweak the builds. Makes perfect sense. Here's not a big nerf, but definitely something to take note of. Righteous Glory is losing 50 health. Now, I know that's not that much, but it was a super cost-effective item currently. And the other thing to realize about the Righteous Glory is, so a lot of the tank junglers build it because it has so much health. And that is good for them, but that gives them even more percentage on their percentage. So this will affect the tank junglers a little bit. Obviously, not a ton, but a little bit. We're looking for changes to them. They're just a little strong. I do think like any bruisers early game can still brawl with them, but they get a lot of health once they finish off Cinder Hulk. So, Thunderman's Rift, Dragon's Might, Dragon Buff #1. All right, so auto attack damage for champions with Dragon's Might and 80 items will now be slightly higher. More complicated math. Physical damage spells will now deal slightly less damage when interacting with Dragon's Might, unless the champion has a lot of bonus AD on their abilities skill higher than 1.0. This is complicated. Buff was 6%, a little at first. First, we didn't multiply the damage, not so good. The second, we assume 1/0 damage for anything less than 80 ratio, much lower. This isn't why we say 80 casting spells. Dragon's Might, see it like that. It's probably. Okay, whatever. That's my official opinion on that. Oh, okay. Still get dragons. Visual updates, Howling Abyss. Cool. Surrender timer moved to 15. Makes total sense, actually. Global gameplay updates. Lots of changes. Look at those changes. Base damages. Going up. Nailed it. The mark/dash. Read about it if you want. Bloodthirster changes. Sanguine Blade removed. Thank God. Good. 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 This is such a... Don't ever buy that. Well, you can't anymore. Haha. Good. Warmogs. Oh, it's back. Cool, it's back. Cool. Skin boosts. Hooray. Twisted Treeline and Howling Abyss and Crystal Scar all also getting a bunch of changes? Or are they not? No. They all get the Twin Shadow change. Moonflesh, Spellblade, Twisted Treeline, Crystal Scar. I don't read these. You can read through them. And you're like, well, wait, what about the people who play them? Yeah, all 0.3% of them. I know people play those, but not that many. Friends lists. Oh, there's friends lists coming. They're adding a feature where you can look up people through Facebook coming, so you can find your friends IRL. That's what they're calling it. The list, the cap has been increased by 25. Hooray! Players will now see alert when trying to add a friend past their cap. Probably helpful for people with a lot of friends. Players will now also see an alert when trying to add friends who are themselves at the friend cap list. As in, your friend has too many friends. And then you yell at them. Oh, I died. I got shut down. I have 5 kills at least. Oh, a double kill. Who feeds Nocturne? Who fed? Let's see. Move it. Victor. Kenan. Stop eating. Alright, bug fixes. Skin-specific sound effects for Ghost Bride Morgana. Hooray. E. Explosive. Yay. Nars VO restored. Okay. I know you're all excited. It's skins. Alright, so here are the skins. Risen. Fiddlesticks. Blood Moon Zillion. Forsaken Jace. And the Master of Disaster Ziggs. That's what they should actually change the name of that too. So, Fiddlesticks. In-game looks alright. Portrait's kind of sweet. We'll pull it up. We'll pull it up. We'll pull it up. We can do this. He looks so The Mummy Returns and kind of scary. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad, right? Blood Moon Zillion. I think he actually looks kind of cool. And the skin looks definitely different for Zillion. So that's good. That's a good one also. Very good. The next one, Forsaken Jace. I'm excited about this one, actually. I played a game with it. I liked it. It's just so evil. That's going to be the thumbnail right there. Maybe. Or Ryze. Ryze is a rework? Maybe Ryze will be the thumbnail. I don't know. Got to make a thumbnail. I like that skin. Also, the Ziggs one's cool, too. I have the water balloon one. Whoever does their splash arts, though, the dude rocks. Or girl, dude bro girl, she rocks. Whoever does them totally is just owning it, because owning it. Need I say more? But, I mean, yeah. That's patch. What to do in it? 20-ish minute, 26 minutes, roughly? 27, something like that. That's pretty quick. Usually they're twice as long. Let me know what you guys thought of how bad it was by myself. If any of the other two were here, they tell you that they love you more for making it to the end of the video, as I will also tell you. Thank you for making it to the end. You're that much cooler. Your mom said it was true. She's a smart lady. We know this. But that's the patch. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about things in it. And other than that, I'll see you in some videos in the future. Bye-bye.